All right, guys, we're back on. I'm going to go over how to read nutrition labels. I love this section because a lot of the times I've been asked, what should I look for on nutrition labels? What does this mean? What is that? So I think a big thing is no one has ever been shown or even properly learned how to read nutrition labels, including myself, until I got into sports and exercise science. So I'm going to go over a couple of things, good and bad, and show you guys what a lot of this stuff means, what to look out for. Also, a little tip, if it doesn't have a nutrition label, it means it's really good. Notice my apple that I have here does have no nutrition label on it, right? What's in it? An apple, okay? It's one apple. You can Google it and look it up, but if it doesn't have nutrition labels, things like fruits and vegetables, you're doing really good, okay? But there are good things that have nutrition labels. So the first thing we'll look at is a can of garbanzo beans, okay? So if you flip it over, you'll see here at the top, and try to point and not block this stuff, we have calories, we have fat, we have cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrates, and proteins, okay? So all this stuff can be important, but let's just talk about the basics here, right? Some of the basic things I want you to understand are, first one is calories. So 120 calories per serving. Now you have to look at that, right? That's half a cup, about 3.5 cups per container. So if you ate this whole can of beans, you would get, roughly probably about 400 calories. But, if you're calculating that out and measuring your stuff, you wouldn't. But anyways, so then the next ones we want to look at, fat. Fat is not bad. If it has fat, that is good, up to a certain amount of point. You'll see that later. Okay, I don't really read these two. Now, you want to avoid having too much in them, but sodium, cholesterol aren't that big of a deal until it's dramatic. So if you see sodium and it's like 1,000 milligrams, I would stay away from that, okay? Carbs here. So now remember we calculated out our carbs, the amount we need. So in my example, I said I needed 43 grams in a meal. So this would be about roughly, a serving size would be roughly about half of my carbs for that day, okay? Fiber I'm not really worried about. And then total sugars, this one you want to look out for. You want to avoid having extra sugars, and I'll show you things that do and, things why that's bad. But just make sure it doesn't have a lot. And then last one is proteins. In my example, I told you I needed 25 grams of protein each meal. So if I eat one serving, I get 6 of those grams. Now you may start to see, man, this is going to be a lot of math and a lot of guessing, a lot of putting things together. It's not really that bad, okay? Oh, another thing I wanted to show is ingredients. This is a big one that I try to read. If the ingredients are something I understand, it's good. If it isn't, it's probably not good, okay? And then a couple of good things here, vegan, low fat, low sodium. Those are just little additives, okay? Next one, we have some grains, some granola, right? This is great. I love this for breakfast. We'll do it with Greek yogurt. Okay, so here they actually have two. They kind of break it up in like a portion size. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so you have like your snack size and your bowl size. They got the same thing here, fats, and it kind of goes down. They actually break their fats down, which don't worry about that too much. I don't want you getting stuck in the minutia of it. Just remember, we don't want too many fats. We want to avoid having an excess amount, but some are good. Okay, sodium's good, cholesterol is good, total carbohydrates. Okay, so we have those. We have 17 grams or 37. And then down here we have proteins. So this has 5 grams, that has 10. It's pretty good food here, right? And then let's see, ingredients. We have oats, cane sugar, peanut butter, brown rice, blah, blah, blah. Most of the stuff you may know or you can pronounce, okay? Some of the stuff you may not, but overall, this is something pretty good. I love to have this with like breakfast, like Greek yogurt, fruit, stuff like that, okay? Here's another one. Everybody thinks rice is bad for you, okay? A lot of it is. Don't eat a lot of rice every day. But let's see the ingredients here. Let's see the nutrition facts. So, calories, 170 per half a cup. So, take that in consideration. Now, rice, I know because I've studied it, has a lot of carbs. So if we're eating, I said 43 grams of carbs in one meal, half a cup for me is going to be probably my total amount for a meal. So if you're eating a lot less, take that in consideration. Serving size, make it smaller. Okay, and then it has a little bit of protein, but nothing major. No fats, that's good. No sugars, that's good. And then ingredients, we have enriched pre-cooked long rice, and then thiamine and folic acid. So it's not terrible. I mean, I eat it. It's pretty simple. Okay, I try to avoid getting the ones with a lot of extra stuff. Now, my favorite one, cookies. Okay, yes, I ate these. They're all gone. I did not just steal this from somebody. I actually eat cookies. I like them, but not all the time. So I try to cut back on them. Okay, so let's look at these. First thing I want to look at is calories. 160 calories, but look at what the serving size is. 2 cookies. So if I clear out 10 cookies, I just knocked out a bunch, a ton of calories of extra, right? Then we look here, we have our total fats. Again, only 2 cookies. So these numbers, if you times them by 5, for this right here, it'd be a total amount, right? So this has a lot of fat in it. We want to try to avoid that. No cholesterol, which is good. No sodium, low sodium. A lot of carbs. So again, these carbs, extra calories, extra anything is going to gain weight, okay? Has sugars in here, which we're trying to avoid, and then the protein is really insufficient. Anything less than 5 grams is not a sufficient amount, okay? So that's kind of the stuff you want to look at, okay? I don't really look at these. They're called micronutrients, or like the vitamins and minerals in food. I don't really look at that too much, okay? So ingredients, unbleached, that should already be assigned to you. Enriched flour. You shouldn't really want to eat anything that is bleached. I wouldn't know why they would put bleached in there. But again, I'll try to avoid that. Vitamin, sugar. It's not good. Semi-sweet chocolate chunks, another name for sugar. Dextrose, another name for sugar. Cocoa butter, fat. Canola oil, fat. Palm and palm kernel oil, fat. Non-fat milk. Well, it's non-fat, but still not that great for you. Baking soda, ammonium phosphate. That sounds like a chemical. Not very happy about that. Molasses, another name for sugar. High fructose corn syrup, another name for sugar. Whey, salt, soy lecithin, artificial flavor and caramel color. So as you can see, these cookies are not the best for you. And I know that. I'm fully aware of that. But they are delicious. Okay, so those are just a couple of examples, guys, that I wanted to give to you and show you kind of how to read those nutrition labels. They're tough. Don't think about them too much. If you can look on it and just kind of scan, that's what I do. Let's say I got a thing and I'm like, I don't really look at the calorie portion. I'll say, okay, these have a lot of fat, or okay, the proteins, or I'll take, let's say I got 2 beans, right? I don't really have another thing of beans like this, but I have some green beans, which are much different than regular beans. So let's just look at these. Let me see if I can get my phone back to where I had it. Don't look at my dirty dishes. All right, so this is how I would compare them, right? This is a very simple way for you to look at 2 items and say which one is better for me. Okay, this is a great example. They're both half a cup. So they're both the same exact serving size. This one has 120 calories. This one has 15. Which one, if we take everything else away, is better for me? Green beans, okay? Simple enough. Then we go down. The beans have some fat. The green beans do not. The sodium, the green beans have a little bit more sodium, but again, we're not worried about that too much. They have a lot less carbs, so 3 grams to 19. You're going to get a lot less calories out of this. And then the beans have a good little amount of protein. Green beans don't really have a lot, only 1 gram. But as you can see, if we're talking about just purely calories and what is better for us, both these are great for you, okay? Both garbanzo beans and green beans are good for you. But if we're looking at calories and we're trying to cut those back, that is a perfect example of how you would do that. Okay, so those are just some examples, guys. If you have any other questions, please let us know.